Hello, everyone. My name is KJ, and today is my spoiler review for the new episode for season 2 of X-Men 97. This is my spoiler review for episode 7 of X-Men 97 season 2. So, if you have not seen this show, please pause this. Before you go, could you do one thing for me, guys? Could you hit the thumbs up button, aka the like button? That would help my YouTube channel out, and I truly appreciate that. Come back and let me know what you guys think about episode 7 for season 2 of X-Men 97 in the comments below. So, again, I'm going to give y'all this little skit that I made for y'all, and then after the skit, I'm going to go straight into a deep dive for this episode and go talk about scene by scene, dialogue by dialogue, just how I feel about it, and much more. So enjoy this skit. And again, this is a spoiler review. But y'all been warned. Now enjoy the skit.
All day.
This
Just read my Kindle. Alright, here we go. Let's see. Wait, let me check my social medias first. Alright, what? Tonight, Deadpool live streams the whole Avengers Doomsday script? What the fuck?
Man, I gotta stop this. Stop this. Whoa.
Hello, chat. I got the script to Avengers Doomsday. In today's live stream, I'm gonna read the whole script and the whole story for y'all before it hits there. So, chat, give me that galaxy, please. Drop me a galaxy. Drop me all the cool gifts. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, Ryan Reynolds. Drop me a galaxy. Come on, chat. Let's go. Let's go, chat. Oh, yeah. And if you guys subscribe and follow to my live stream, between you and me, I may whip it out. So, okay.
Whoa, and whoa. What are you doing? Why?
Do this because that Robbie Downey Jr. wouldn't let me in the movie, so I'm gonna expose them all. Expose them.
That idea. That's a horrible idea. Let me just take that script from you. Thank you. And let's not spoil that. Let's just not spoil Avengers Doomsday like that. And yeah, let's just not. So I'm gonna take this script and I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna get rid of it. So
Okay, fine. You win. Here we go. Sorry, chat, but you know, I'm seeing pretty ladies out there. You know. I see you, Wolverine. I see you. You know what? I'm still gonna whip it out. Let's go.
This episode starts off with a big attack by the giant Centiles. This episode gives us a devastating ground level flashback of Ganosa having a massive attack from the perspective of Colossus to later join Magneto's former team as the Acolytes, as Colossus' sister Ileana is murdered by the Centiles. Colossus dealing with grief as the next scene takes us to a rally held by Grandin Creed. Again, he is the son of I think his dad is Sabretooth and his mom is Mystique, and of course they both abandoned him in different ways. I know obviously physically abandoned him, but we learn like Sabretooth is like literally an animal. He treated his own son like a cub, and if he didn't live up to it, because he doesn't have mutant powers or abilities, not that I'm aware of, and I should have researched that, but I didn't. But as of now, he doesn't have any mutant abilities or powers like his mom or dad in the sense. So he really hates mutants, and he's in this rally, and it's this scene again. This whole episode is very and a very political or poetic justice, I should say. And this is art imitating life in this rally in certain ways, because here's this guy who's hating on mutants for being different and talking about they're dangerous. Some of them act like they're gods, some don't. In reality, some of them just want to be treated like a normal human being. But he really hates these mutants, and he's against it, and he really wants mutants to, be on a leash basically. And you know, the government in this season is definitely doing that, as we see like the I believe it's the X Factor that's run by the government is doing all that too, capturing mutants and stuff. So, this is a rally, pep rally. And you notice like everybody in this rally is very gun ho for this, very cult like, very, you know, just cheering on the fact that this guy hates mutants and they hate mutants too, and they want to do violent things. Every time he mentions he wants to do a violent things, the crowd, the audience in this rally cheers for it, encourages it, just being, crazy about it and stuff. So, but then things turn as the like I said, this group called the Acolytes come in and captured Graydon Creed, and this mutant character in the Exodus, the leader of, demands the X Factors to release all mutants from prison. As Director Cooper, or Val Cooper, I should say, is not happy about this because she only has 24 hours to make these demands. And again, this is like, in a way, there's so many ways you can look at this. It's like maybe, you understand the acolytes, the mutants, who are just tired of being bullied and treated like crap, for being different. They didn't ask to be mutants. They were just born this way. They didn't ask to have superpowers. They were just, you know, they didn't know. And yes, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's mutants that embrace this. Some are the villains, some are the heroes. Of course, of course, of course. But in this time, like there's just innocent people who do have mutant ability powers, and they just want to live a regular life. They ain't trying to be the next Iron Man or the next Spider Man or the next X Men. They just like to have a regular job, have a family, have their family go to school, and all that good stuff, right? Like just live a regular, peaceful life. But again, this is a world where they're not accepted, so you can kind of understand where you see why they were doing this, and plus there's mutants being held captured in prisons by the X Factor, who's led by director Val Cooper. Yes, the Val Cooper, and she's like locking them up just for being different. So I get it. You in a way you could feel sorry for them, and honestly, you can in a way not encourage it, but you would side with the mutants because it's not right to treat people differently in that sense. But these characters take it too far, where, as we see later in this episode, we see Nightcrawler, who's conflicted with many issues because Nightcrawler is also related to him, uh, grade on Creed because I believe they either have the same I know they have the same mother but different fathers. And also Rogue is related to both of them as well because I think they have the same mother as well. Now, in comic books, that has switched over multiple times. Sometimes you find out they're not, sometimes they are related, sometimes it depends which X-Men comic book series you read, but the Marvel Comics flip-flops that storyline many times in history. So it's never like a defined moment, but for the sake of this animation series, they are related as of now, unless they do a shock and reveal in episode 8. Who knows? But I don't think they're going that route right now. But as of now, they're all related. But in comic books, I just want to let y'all know that sometimes if you do decide to read an X Men comic book, that might not be the case of the story that you read. So just put it out there. Just understand like that flip flop. So now back to this show. Now, with that being said, like Nightcrawler is very conflicted, but you know, in the they go to this island where it's like dinosaurs and jungles and stuff, and the X Corp now once the X-Men, they're like, okay, we'll handle this. And Charles Xavier's trying to explain to director Val Cooper, like, we can handle this, we can get this, we can do this in a peaceful way. And also through this every episode, we see every involving family to treat a moral alignment to the philosophical at the debates that the heart of the franchise, and it does its all in a secret jungle, like I said, and it's worthwhile dinosaurs. And we know again, like the X Corp, that includes Nightcrawler, Rogue, Polaroid, Bishop, and Beast, are all going to rescue Grading Creed, but the plane got attacked by the acolytes, and they crashed down. The only two get separated. Real big separation is Bischoff and Polaris and Bischoff. Like again, they're separated in this jungle, and Polaris and Bischoff, again in comic books, they were never known to end up dating, but there seemed like a love interest between the two. But they're the ones that are trying to survive in this jungle with the dinosaurs, and there's big silly actions to this stuff, while the rest are having like this again like a political debate where any X-Men cartoon series, there's always art imitating life in a certain way when it comes to mutants being treated differently, and it's relatable in today's society as it is. And when you got Nightcrawler, Rogue, and Beast, going to the main like temple where Graydon Creed is held captured and stuff. They explain like the reason why your mutant powers don't work because we put these inhibitors, and now these are giant inhibitors. Now, if you have seen the Spider-Man Brand New Day movie, spoilers, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, makes a prohibitor to control and maintain his mutation, and also the Hulk uses that as well because we know Jean Grey made her MCU debut in this cinematic universe. So there's a lot of this prohibitor. And what's really funny is this episode obviously came out before Spider-Man Brand New Day. But the idea is what I'm getting at is I think that this prohibitor thing is going to be the main focus in the mutant saga once Marvel Studios gets to that point. And this is just a taste of ideally how they would probably go with the route um with the prohibitors. And honestly, I'd be shocked if if they don't do something like, I'd be shocked if they don't ever do a live action where they do a Genosha or this other island where there's dinosaurs living in the jungle and stuff, and or just mutated dinosaurs. I don't know, but I'd just be shocked. I mean, this is the MCU. It would honestly fit. It doesn't have to be that realistic, but or in a logical way in today's society. But because again, it is just a superhero movie. Like, why not? But this is what I want to point out too is that the prohibitors in this are giants. They're like cell tower giant, tall. And they're all over this island, and so like all the mutants can't use their powers except the acolytes in this because they got the control. Now, who made this? Mister Sinister, and so obviously Mister Sinister is being they're putting feelers out if people want to see that, which I think they do. I know I want like to see Mr. Sinister in a live action MCU. But this is just a little taste of an idea that they may go the route to it. Like I said, I'm noticing like I think X-Men 97 is somewhat like the blueprint of how they would structure it in the live action of the MCU. So if you have seen the Spider-Man Brand New Day, you'll see how they portray the a smaller version of the prohibitors, and I mean they're small, like it can fit in your hand and stuff. Like it's small. So this is just a giant version of it, and so they all agreed they'll be peaceful, they'll talk it out. They're gonna have a court, and Nightcrawler agrees to all this, just for standing up for the X, representing the X Corp, aka the X Men. But he tells that look, Colosso, you'll be the judge. And Exodus agrees with it. Everybody else agrees with it. And Nightcrawler and the other X Corp slash the X Men members, they visit Graydon Creed and they just ask him, and basically they ask him like, "Hey, can you work with us? We want to help you get out of this situation because we don't think you getting murdered and executed in front of a live public is the right thing to do. If you work with us and chill on your comments, like we can get you home safe and there won't be no problems." Because the problem is if he dies, the United States government's going to take this as war. There's going to be a civil war in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as in like, okay, they did this to us, we're going to do this to them. This is an act of mutiny. No pun intended. But so he's Nightcrawler's like, brother, chill and stuff. But Graydon, he's like, nah, screw that. I don't like y'all. You know, if he didn't give him the middle finger, but if he did, he would give him all the middle finger if they drew that in the animation series. But they won't do that because it is kids friendly in a sense of where they're going. But so they're gonna go there, and Nightcrawler is gonna represent him and defend him, right? And Rogue's just she don't like the idea because again, he hates mutants, but his parents are mutants, and of course he in the court as they begin trial, Nightcrawler brings up the fact as we get a long flashback of Graydon. Graydon Creed is somebody who's just he's just trying to obviously speak his mind, but like he's been abandoned. Realistically, Nightcrawler brings up the fact that maybe he's just more upset that his parents abandoned him, didn't love him as a child, and he even Creed even brings up the fact that what his dad did give him a scar, and the fact that his mother abandoned him because he didn't have mutant powers, and it really brought him to tears. And so he's not really angry at mutants; he's more angry at his parents for abandoning him and stuff. And Nightcrawler brings it up, and you see through this episode as they bring it up, but then as Colosso was getting ready to make his decision, Exodus was like, "Oh, you're gonna." He knew he was Colosso was gonna choose to let him go, Creed go, And Exodus said, "Nah, screw that," and they started battling each other and stuff. But Creed shot Exodus and killed him, shot him, bang bang, right? And it was nuts. But luckily, Nightcrawler got him out safely and just teleported him to these like a cold place where it's snowing. But he's fine. And then at the end of the episode, they get out safely. They destroy the exhibitor so they could use their mutant powers and be able to go. And there were some cool fight scenes in that, but basically he got them all out, and Nightcrawler got to shine in fight scenes and stuff, and uses awesome sword skills and stuff. And you know, with that being said, it just shows where at least like it demonstrated like to end violence. Violence is never the answer. And Nightcrawler was using that stuff. So, and Nightcrawler is somebody who believes in the Christianity and stuff. So he really has belief on being like words, talking about it, debating about it. It's more productive than versus trying to hurt each other in a physical way. And that was the whole message of it, of him just saying like, we can't change the world with violence. We can't really do that. And a lot of the anger that Creed had towards all mutants really comes down because of his parents, Mystique and Sabretooth, abandoning him as a baby or as a child at least. So that's the whole point of that. And then the next scene is we see Charles Xavier and Val Cooper talking and just communicated through like a phone call type thing, but with like a hologram type thing. And she's like, they're pretty much said he's fine, he's good. And she's like, man, don't if it would have went worse, we would have got you. She's like, look, I would have attacked y'all, I destroyed Genosha Island, I would have got y'all arrested. Like she wasn't playing around, but Charles Xavier wasn't playing around either. So they found mutual common grounds to keep the peace on both sides because I think she don't want to hurt, but she's willing to do her job, is what I'm getting. And then we get to this final next scene where we see the X Force discovers a dead corpse of Apocalypse and a burnt uh playing card, which indicates Gambit. And it looks like because Gambit becomes one of the horsemen's to Apocalypse, but it seems like Apocalypse has somewhat switched bodies, soul swiped, whatever you call it, into Gambit's body. So that's gonna be interesting if they go that route. But that's how that whole episode ends. So was this a good episode? Yes, it was good in a poetic justice, political type topics because this is what every X-Men animation series has come out in history. This is one of their things they love to do is write these type of stories in an episode. Like this is just one of their main core things. And obviously, there's so many ways you can look at this, but the one thing I would always say is just remember it's a superhero movie, but also too like you can feel sorry for both sides, but also, you gotta understand like, you shouldn't lock up mutants for doing that. And also, but violence is never the answer too. And a guy like him who has no mutant powers, like he can't, but he's scumbag for sure. He's scumbag. Grading Creed is. He's definitely a scumbag in these X Men series throughout all the X Men. But really good episode. I think it really tugs the heart and stuff. And the voice actors did such an amazing job with the dialogue and the passion and the emotion that each character delivered. as far as when they were doing the trial. And I love the flashback scenes through all this. And to see like Colossal too, that my favorite scene was Colossal just telling Nightcrawler, I only was gonna allow side with you because you brought up good points, but deep down inside he hates that guy because his sister's gone due to the Centiles and stuff. And so it's very hard for him, but Colossal also knew it was the right thing and stuff. And so we'll never know. He did. We would know because he did talk about it, but not never know. But he did bring up the fact that if X just didn't pull that off, he would explain why he agrees with Nightcrawler, but explain to other mutants like, "But look, I don't like it, but this is the right decision to go. This is the right path because this would have lead more innocent people hurt because of actions be the wrong actions being portrayed with the wrong emotion." And that makes Colosso the bigger person. And that's a pretty good example of showcasing what a true hero does is be the bigger person at times, even when you don't want to. So a really good positive message. And again, X-Men cartoon series like this, they always have these type of episodes and they always have a message like that. Like this is nothing new. This is nothing groundbreaking, but this is what makes people, I think, make a fan of the X-Men cartoon series or animation shows, as you want to call it. But I honestly, that's what brings the best out of the X-Men series. Like, is this so really good? If I had to give it a 1 out of 10, I'd give it a 7.5. Really good show. It was pretty silly at times, but again, it wasn't really action packed, kaboom, kaboom until later to the end. This is more about Nightcrawler, you know, being the buffer between societies of life, pretty much, instead of Charles Xavier always being the buffer. And two, I just like how they tease the fact that we're getting Gambit back, but he's kind of evil. I does he? Do I think Apocalypse sent his soul into Gambit's body? I think so. I think that's where they're kind of going with it. If they're gonna do the Horseman group, I think they would have done a different story with it. But I think Apocalypse sent his soul into Gambit's body to live longer in years because Gambit is much younger than Apocalypse. If you want to go by timeline, Apocalypse was born in the Egyptians' day. So even Apocalypse's new body, well, it's not new body, it's the same body. He just got buffed and juiced up on some power, but to send over to a new body and send his soul over there, that makes sense. So I think the Gambit we see is just Apocalypse who has possessed it now and taken over that body is what I think they're gonna go the route with it. And you know, is Gambit still in there? Or is this all Apocalypse is the question? You know, we'll see because it's probably gonna be based on can Rogue bring him back to normal, or is Gambit way too far gone? So that's how I think that scene was teasing about foreshadowing the idea. So really good episode again. Like I said, really good. And that's my spoiler review. But thank you guys. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Subscribe. Hit that notification button so you can always be up to date with all my latest content. Thank you guys and peace.